we aim to support people with experience of homelessness into employment.
Well, it's understanding. It's all about the understanding of people and finding like what's happened to them. Why is it happened that they're homeless at that moment in time?
Without that real chance meeting and getting to know Steve and meeting with him and what happened there wouldn't be an egg today.
Welcome to the Merseyway Innovation Centre podcast, where we explore the power of unexpected encounters and spontaneous connections. Join us on our journey as we delve into the world of casual collisions, those chance encounters and unexpected conversations that have the power to redirect our paths and shape our destinies. Get ready to explore how a single moment can change everything.
So, welcome to Merseyway Innovation Centre. I'm joined here by Nick and John from Egg Charity. John, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I'm John Billings. I'm the founder and CEO of Egg, Engage, Grow, Go. We're a homeless charity that has a slightly different angle on homelessness. We aim to support people with experience of homelessness into employment, which for a lot of people who are homeless right now in Stockport and right across Greater Manchester and the rest of the country is not incredibly realistic. So we focus our work on those people where getting into employment is a realistic option for them.
So it's not just handing out money to people on the street, it's actually proactively getting them back into work.
It's much more of a hand up to people where we're getting people to that point where they're independent, they're accountable to themselves, they're in housing and in employment and budgeting their own finances and crucially for us, off benefits. So,
okay, right.
Yeah.
Nick, you work for Egg as well.
We do.
And obviously I know that because I see you nearly every day.
Well, this is it.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
So I'm Nicola. I'm a support worker for Egg. I do a lot of the wellness side of the charity. We do a lot of signposting as well as getting people into employment.
Yeah, I would imagine that some people that come for help or get referred to you aren't always that ready or need something else before you can help.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Absolutely. So they could be needing rehab or detox housing. So we tend to support them on a one-to-one basis throughout leading up to the rehab.
Mm-hmm.
We can do that through a number of different organisations as well as one-to-one support within the Innovation Centre.
So tell us some of the success stories of Egg so far. I'll start with you, John.
Quite a number. So we've been going about 2 years, and in that 2 years we've supported about 100 people just over that off the streets and into some form of accommodation, be that supported housing or independent housing. Probably about 54 of those individuals into full-time work. Now with 4 or 5 of those people it has gone wrong and it's not worked, but for the vast majority, a high 90% of people, it is a sustainable option for them and it is working. It's keeping people in employment, contributing to society, paying tax and taking part in society in general, and that's what we want of our clients and the people that we engage with.
I'd imagine, Nick, that it's quite a hard job to do, and I know that you come from a background of doing these kinds of jobs, dealing with people that are really vulnerable.
Yeah.
What's the hardest parts? Those human parts, those stories that hurt.
Well, it's understanding. It's all about the understanding of people and finding what's happened to them. Why is it happened that they're homeless at that moment in time? And a lot of it isn't through necessarily their own fault. It can be just circumstances in life, and it can happen to anybody at any time. But my background is mental health as well, so I have a lot of understanding around that mental health side of it as well.
So like a typical story of someone coming in, if you can do like an anonymous kind of story of someone, or if they're willing for you to share that story, what would it be? What does it look like?
So we've had we've had people who've lived at the side of canals, in tents where they have actually got a job, and we're trying to get them housed, but they've had to still go back to the tent in wet conditions, where there's rats and all sorts, and then having to get up, go to an outreach centre to have a shower, and they've got to do all that before they go to work, do a full day's work, and then get back to go back to the tent at the end of the day. It must be absolutely horrendous and draining. You can't even imagine having to sleep in them conditions as well. But then you've got other people who live in cars. We've had
quite a number of people who've been living in vehicles
cars,
but holding down a job at the same time.
Yeah.
And we've managed to provide them with a housing option, usually private housing. What we've done for some of our clients is we've provided financial assistance to them. So we've helped to secure the property, pay for first month's rent and deposit, and then second month the person pays for that themselves. But it's that little bit of extra support for people who are in such a vulnerable position has really made a difference to really vulnerable people's lives.
I mean, I know myself going for jobs, and even in a position where you're not sleeping in a car, you've got a house, you've got a family, and you've got backing. Your confidence takes real big dips when you're looking for jobs, and moving house is a really stressful thing. You're probably dealing with people with ultra low confidence anyway, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which is probably part of the reason why they were homeless in the first place.
On a daily, so I tend to do like a lot of mindfulness and self-belief and stuff like that with them, but also
does that work?
Yeah, I'd say so. And because it's a lot of the time they're at the lowest of the lowest, aren't they, at the time, but then when they have got job interviews, we have an amazing organisation that we work with called Walking Wardrobe. So that means that we can take them, get them all suited and booted, ready for the interview. We can take them for the haircut, so they actually feel a part of society, should you say? Do you know what I mean? And it makes them feel good as well. And they walk like an extra 2 inches taller, don't they?
Yeah, definitely makes a massive difference.
They go and put
really
that suit on, if you get me. So that's another amazing side of it.
So I know you've worked quite a long time in Stockport. You both live in Stockport, and you're starting something new in Stockport. And there's so much starting new in Stockport. It's such a great time. What's your feelings on what you're seeing around the High Street area, and with the new bus station and all this kind of money that's going into the area?
Yeah, I think all the developments are right across, especially the town centre, has just been fantastic for the town.
Yeah.
The commercial developments and the properties that are being built, just making a massive difference really to the way Stockport feels and looks. Really, the nighttime economy especially is really booming. The number of new bars and places that are attractive for people to visit, like Basque Bar at the Stockport Exchange, such a brilliant bar.
Yeah.
The number of fantastic artists that they've had on in that bar is just outstanding. Benji and his team there at Basque have just done a brilliant job in really putting the nighttime economy of Stockport more on the map than it already was. But there's so much going on across the town centre. Every week tends to be something new popping up or something different happening.
Almost on cue, we can hear the building work going on in the High Street here. Like they must have heard us
for a while, haven't we?
Yeah, we have been hearing it. But it's we're witnessing all this building work going on in the High Street, and it feels like it's been going on for ages. But I know that when new people come in here, they're going, "Oh wow, it's all changed so quick." It's so good to be part of that, isn't it?
It really is.
I'm going to close the windows while we're
no worries.
while we're chatting. Building work. There we go. So, starting something new in Stockport. There is so much change. It is exciting. What's the future for Egg? How do you see it moving on?
So the future for Egg really is to just continue growing the organisation. we've just successfully recruited another member of staff and had to take a bigger office space here in the Innovation Centre, which has just been such a great resource for us since moving in here in November. We've got quite a small office at the moment, but we're now moving into a big one and
the coffee machine.
employ more staff. The coffee machine is exceptional, yeah, it really is.
Well, actually, this leads me on to my next question, because the environment that we've built here at the Innovation Centre is all around the ethos that actually we want people to be talking to each other, we want a community of people to be talking to each other, whether they know each other in the first place, whether they're from the same sector or not. And we find that those, this is called Casual Collisions, this podcast. We find that those casual collisions are happening so much, and it is mainly down to that coffee machine, that bar area and that kind of area.
Yeah.
But what is there a story in your walk so far where you've had that casual collision where you're talking to someone and then a few minutes later you're thinking, wow, my path has changed, I can see another way to go, or you literally, they've asked you to do something else, in an indirect or direct way, they've changed your path?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've got many examples of that happening to me throughout my career, but one that really springs to mind is when I was CEO at the Wellspring in Stockport. I had a bit of a chance meeting really with Steve Oliver from Music Magpie. He's the founder and CEO of Music Magpie, and I'd sort of always read about him in the papers and stuff and seen him around and seen what he'd grown and that as a business, and I always thought to myself, I really need to be mates with this guy, not just because he was such a cool guy, but because he's a massive City fan as well, like myself, so we had lots in common. So I met with Steve quite a few years ago, and I mivied him a little bit to try and give me some funding to employ someone just to work on homelessness, getting people into employment. Unfortunately, the Wellspring didn't want to pursue that path, so I went back to Steve and said, sorry, that Wellspring don't want to do employment-related things, and I'm going to be moving on, and I left there and I went to work in Salford for a couple of years. But Steve, said to me, well, why don't we start something as a charity just around employment for people? So without that real chance meeting and getting to know Steve and meeting with him, and what happened there wouldn't be an Egg today. Egg's very, very lucky and very fortunate that Steve's now our chair of trustees. He makes incredible introductions for us, and really puts us in touch with some brilliant organisations who can then support us, as well as his own business providing those employment opportunities for our client group, which is just amazing really. And without his support and without the relationship we kind of built with him, there wouldn't be an Egg today.
Yeah, I think you can look at people like Steve and you can just think, oh, they're just successful because they're successful and that's it, and they the reason why they're doing so well is just because they're doing so well, and and you don't put any attributes from them to it. But actually, when you meet someone like Steve, you go, I can totally see why you do so well.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
puts himself out there. He talks to people whenever he sees them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're saying here, and that's what we want to generate in this place, is that you have to put yourself out there. You have to. These agenda-driven teams meetings at home are fantastic for getting jobs done. And right, how are we going to get this next project done? Who's going to do what? Boom, boom, boom. Agenda-driven meeting done. But they're not very good for this situation where you meet people and you talk and ideas birth, and also you learn.
Well, it's physical interaction, isn't it?
You learn about each other, and that's what a relationship is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I don't
And there's
think
not enough of that anymore, I don't think.
I don't think there is, no. And I think we do suffer a little bit, and we found definitely here that owners of businesses, and even yourself when you came in, you said that you don't want an office at home. You want somewhere where you can meet people. You want somewhere where your staff can meet people. It's better for your well-being.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, I think it's a great story that of where your path. You could have just gone on the way you were going.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And I always remember one of the standout things that Steve said to me about Music Magpie. One of the first things he said was that magpies care about people, And I always thought to myself at the time, that, yeah, that's a really good soundbite. That sounds great.
Yeah.
But does that actually happen? You know, I was a little bit sceptical of that. But having got to know Steve and Music Magpie, it's abundantly clear that that's very, very true. And without their support, we really, they wouldn't be an egg charity, to be honest. We wouldn't have helped so many people off the streets. We wouldn't have got so many people into work. And
Yeah, you needed more than finance.
yeah,
A lump of money would have helped, but it doesn't do any good in the long term, does it?
No.
You need that support.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's great that he's doing that as well. So do you guys are probably, I'm guessing here that you've probably done a lot of networking events and going into rooms full of people. And for some people that's really easy. And I imagine Nick's always talking to people all the time. So I imagine that would be easier for you.
Chatterbox.
You're a chatterbox. But what's your approach when you go into a room and you don't know anybody? I'm just thinking for like people watching this, they might be thinking, okay, well, how do I do it then? How do I have these chance meetings? And it is throwing yourself in, but there's got to be some tactics to that.
Just be yourself. That's what I said. Just be you and just embrace you, who you are.
Yeah, it's kind of finding common ground with people as well. I think it's really important. You know, there's so many other businesses in here that are very, very different to what Egg does, but we've still got lots in common with those people. You know, and it's finding that mutual common relationship with people and building on that and building those relationships up.
And we do laugh about the coffee machine, but it is a hub. It brings everyone together. Like when you're making a coffee, you'll be sat talking to the next person who's making a coffee at the side of you.
Yeah, I mean that's right as well, isn't it? That any good networking event has good drinks, coffee or whatever that's there, and it has good food.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be upmarket food.
Yeah.
You know, Bacon Butty does it, but that's almost a talking point as well, isn't it? Whenever I've gone to a networking event, I'm always talking about the food or the drink or
and then that follows on to the next and the next and the next conversation.
And every house has, the kitchen is always the place
It's
where
the
people
hub.
get chatting.
Yeah,
So
it's always
it's
the
true,
hub.
isn't it? Around the food and around the drink. So yeah. Well, anyway, it's great to have you both here. Thank you so much for talking to me. Hopefully it wasn't too... I know you were looking forward to it so much, Nick.
I can't, honestly. I was bursting at
You were
the seams.
bursting to do this,
I
she
really
wasn't.
was.
But yeah, thanks for coming down, and we wish you all the luck in the future with all you're doing, and we're so glad that you're here as well. It's brilliant because we get to have chance meetings with you every day, which is great. So.
Thank you. And thanks for everything you've done personally for Egg, and since we've moved in here, everyone, all the staff, everybody's just been nothing but helpful, and thank you very much for your support. It really makes a difference.
Oh, no worries, John. Cheers.
Thank you for joining us. We hope this discussion has ignited a spark within you, an urge to finally have the conversation that you've been putting off, or perhaps the courage to reach out to someone new and explore where that connection may lead. Remember, it's through these connections that collaboration thrives. So don't hesitate to take the first step towards connection. Together, we can forge new paths and unlock endless possibilities.